Welcome, boys and girls, to another spinny Saturday edition of the Best Bets Show, presented by our fine sponsors here at Circa Sports. An elite Saturday for an Elite 8 showdown. We got some heavyweight tilts today. I'm Matthew Cox. That one's Jim Rue. That one's Kai McKeon. As you can see, a new setup today. The weather was not so kind and not so sunny in Las Vegas. That's okay. We carry fourth.
It is actively raining. I can see it in the pool. It is raining right now.
We are the only three people currently at the stadium swim. Again, great setup, but weather not cooperating. I thought desert was immune to rain, but apparently I don't. It's not the case, Kai. Anywho, we'll get to some takeaways from yesterday. Jim, there's two narratives going around pretty loudly right now on the Twitter sphere. Toxic right now. Do you want to hit the conference narrative first? Or you want to hit the shooting regression narrative first? I'll let you pick one.
Neither. I want to shed tears for Jamal Shed because that man deserved to have a chance at a Final Four at a national title, and I was taken from him by injury. Injuries suck. Why don't we turn the sliders down on injuries, turn them off, toggle that off? Duke did what they needed to do, but, man, I wish Shed would have played.
Yeah, it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Duke was down by 5 when Shed got hurt. Is that right?
I think 6.
Down 6. Okay, so Houston was +5 with Shed on the floor, -8 with him off the floor. He mattered. Outside of Zach Edey, he's probably the most important player in the country to his team. Houston has been snake bit the last few years, unfortunately. They've gone through injuries. Not to take anything away from Duke, but Duke was fortunate that Shed had the injury. Duke only won by 3.
Yeah.
Duke didn't look very good. Houston's defense looked great. Their offense looked horrible. Congrats to Duke. I hope they beat NC State, but of course, that's tomorrow's
Just
game.
so it's not all Houston missed Shed, Duke did an awesome job on the glass.
Great on the glass.
They won,
Yes.
they won the rebounding battle, got a bunch of second chances, and they took away Cryer and Sharp from the perimeter. Those guys played 75 combined minutes and took 5 combined threes. That is good game planning and execution by Duke.
Every person we were with watching in the Circa bullpen at the Super. By the way, if you've not been to Circa, you must get down here. The Sportsbook, it's absolutely phenomenal. Every person we were with pulled out their phone and auto-bet Duke live, so that was maybe the most obvious wager of yesterday's program. Other games, Tennessee-Creighton, shootout to start. Tennessee gets up big, Creighton punches back, but Tennessee gets the last hook. Jimbo Fisher don't connect, a prop bet winner for the prop guru over there. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, who needs Santiago Vescovi when Connect is connecting late? I mean, he hit some huge threes down the stretch. Early, he hit those mid-range jumpers that we talked about on the show, kind of stretch out the Creighton defense a little bit. Jump shooting Jays were game. They fought back after getting hit in the mouth by an 18-0 run. Answered right back, cut it to 3, but Tennessee was able to keep them just enough at arm's length. It's a different Vols team this year, guys. You've heard it before, and it's true.
It is. Tennessee runs now. They score. They're exciting. They're fun to watch. Vescovi, man. Boy, I hope that flu was bad. You're in the Sweet 16, man. I think you got to – I don't want to call him out. The flu's horrible. I get it.
I've got the black lung, Pop.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't want to be controversial, but you got to play. You got the flu. You better play tomorrow. I mean, look back on this in 20 years.
On notice.
Hey, you were in the Elite 8. How'd you do? Well, I was sick. I didn't play. Oh, wow. I guess Tennessee didn't need him at the end of the day, but, man, they need him tomorrow against Purdue for sure.
Shots fired, Mr. Esky.
Well, yeah.
Purdue-Gonzaga, battle the bigs. Loser for Matthew on his best bet, Jim. Zach Edey, pretty nice ball player. Braden Smith.
Oh, boy, what a game.
I was throwing some daggers at Braden Smith, and he promptly silenced me quickly. Dimes, key shots. The Zags were just outmatched. I just feel like they ran out of steam, and the lack of depth caught up to them, and Purdue is, I think, that good. They're not UConn good, but they are that good.
And they have looked unbelievable the last 2 games. Like, you have seen peak Purdue. Can they continue doing that for 3 more games? Are they peaking? Or is it just 2 really good performances that comes back to earth? We'll debate that tomorrow on the Best Bets Show at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, Purdue. I mean, Edey, 27-14. Braden Smith, 15 assists, 14 points. They were awesome. I thought Gonzaga played pretty well. It's funny, 53-51 at one point. We looked up again, and Purdue was up by 14-15 all of a sudden. Team's awesome. You're not going to hear the narrative. No one's talking about the Big Ten this year, right? Last several years, Big Ten can't win in the tournament. Now they have 2 teams in the Elite 8, and yet no one's talking about the Big Ten. It's what have you done for me lately? The conference tournament talk. I hate it. I hate it, Matthew.
I have no further thoughts on conference narratives. I will be abstaining from such conversation on this program. Finally, the NC State DJ Burns refrigerator vending machine mojo continues.
He did nothing.
Game MVP, according to KenPom, is Mizzou transfer Mo Diarra with
he was wonderful.
Check stats, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 1-1-1 in the box score, and an ugly, ugly game. Cue the overinflated balls, tight rims, narratives. I'm a believer, by the way. Just a disgusting game. Marquette, just literally nothing was falling. And I think the Tyler Kolek video after the game with the shirt ripped in Superman form kind of told the story.
I deserve the Marquette shooting performance after what I talked about with Arizona's shooting. Of course, another ACC team shoves it right up me bum. Well-deserved, I suppose. But, yeah, I still think it was a little bit fluky. I don't think the better overall team won, but on that day, the better team won. NC State was better yesterday. They converted more shots. Like the DJ Horn sidestep three after Marquette had missed a wide open one was like story of the game. They hit a tough shot. Marquette missed some easy ones, and that's why NC State deserves to move on.
NC State's looked great the last several games, but it's also true that they've had fortunate shooting performances by other teams. We'll talk about it when we break them down a little bit. But, yeah, Casey Morsell, tough shot, baseline, right inside the three-point line. Hell of a shot. I mean, it went in. Great player. NC State's guards were a reason I took NC State yesterday. They don't make mistakes. They've been impressive all tournament and the ACC tournament, really all season. And, yes, they were fortunate to get a 4 for 31 performance from Marquette from three. They got Duke next. Again, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, good luck to the Wolfpack.
Yeah, the pack is well fed, but again, the narratives are just absolutely abuzz on Twitter. But we're talking tonight, Illinois, UConn. For my money, the two best teams playing today. Apologies to Clemson and Alabama. I know both playing very well,
yeah,
but
that's true.
I mean, this kind of sets up to be a true heavyweight fight. But yet the spread's 8.5 because UConn is just on like a different planet right now. 155.5 the total, 8.5 the number. Kyle, we thought this would get bet up to like 10. It hasn't. I think the Illinois respect in the market is very clear in the fact that this number has not moved. If it got to like 10, maybe I'd be cute and take the Illini. If it dropped to 8, I'd probably want to back UConn, but I'm sitting on my hands in boring fashion, fence riding fashion today. Please have a take here.
I think we're going to see it get to 9 eventually before tip-off. KenPom has this 6, so you're already paying a premium if you want UConn, and really you probably should be paying a premium if you want UConn. They've won 9 straight tournament games by 13-plus points. This team is one of the most dominant teams we've seen in the past 10, 20 years. They really are that good. They're now number 1 in offense in KenPom. They're number 6 in defense in KenPom. They look unstoppable. Now, can they stop Terrence Shannon? I still think Terrence Shannon's a big mismatch problem for UConn. Even UConn.
I agree.
They have big guards, but Shannon, no one has his combination of strength and speed. I think Domask is a bit of a matchup problem for UConn as well. I think Coleman Hawkins is a matchup problem for UConn. Pole clinging out to the perimeter. However, that works two ways. UConn should smash Illinois in the paint. If Coleman Hawkins is playing the 5, that's kind of the main chess battle, we'll say, in terms of matchups.
Yeah, does Illinois have to go to Dane Danger to avoid getting absolutely slaughtered at the rim, or can they play that 5 out that UConn hasn't really seen? I would say Villanova plays some 5 out, and they almost won at Nova. UConn only won by 1. And then the other game I wrote down. Kansas scored 1.15 points per possession when Dickinson hit 3 threes. They're not true 5 out because of Adams, but they spaced the floor very well. So I think there's a route to points here as Kai is going. Damask, I think, can score. In that 1v1, you're going to have to probably send doubles. That's not really what UConn wants to do. They're kind of like force you to win one-on-one battles and go into Klingon and Johnson's arms at the rim. But I'm going over best bet, guys.
Yeah. I like over.
I know Matt's talking his inflated ball narrative.
No,
here.
not TD Garden. TD Garden, they're properly inflated.
Right,
they have a tighter check on the ball.
I don't know how up and down this game will really get. I know Terrence Shannon's going to push in transition every chance he gets, but I think efficiency is going to be sky high. UConn's offense is so beautifully pristine, and Illinois has one day to prep for that, and they're just going to run out their same drop coverage. They're not going to change defenses the way a lot of teams have had success against UConn, like Patino St. John's. Yeah. I think it's just efficient on both sides.
To your point, Illinois, not a good cutting defense this year. Per synergy, they've gotten beat on back cuts this season, right? And UConn, the sets are incredible. However, against Iowa State, it was nice to see Illinois actually play defense. It seems like this team has the ability to, and you think they would with their athletes and their quickness. Yeah. They should be a better defensive team. perhaps the Iowa State game is jumping off point, but again, like Jim said, tough to prepare for UConn in one game. UConn's transition defense has been great all season.
Yep.
They're going to need it against Illinois. Their isolation defense has been good as well. Again, another Illinois staple on offense.
Yeah, it's funny. The only time I've seen UConn's transition D look a little bit leaky was against St. John's. That's the last game they've gone over in their last 8, if I'm doing my math here off the top of my head. But they've gone under pretty much every game since late February, mostly because their defense has been so good. Like, teams aren't scoring enough against them. Illinois, I think, is the best offensive, most dynamic offensive team they've seen during that stretch. Apologies to the Big East teams they played.
Yeah, apologies
during
to
that
Marquette
run.
and Creighton.
Yeah, but it really is. And I think the point the Coleman Hawkins thing, if he makes shots, I think that's the path for Illinois to at least keep this competitive. You can't go big on big with Kling and play Danger. Like, we love dancing Bear Dane. This is not a Dane Danger game.
He's going to have to play, but also to that point, too, it's nice that Illinois has mobile, versatile bigs to take on Caravan, for instance. They're switchable on defense, or at least should be able to switch on defense. I think that's pretty key against UConn, too. Yeah,
he'll shoot it from anywhere, too. I think there's some long miss, rebound, easy transition points to help you over here.
That's when Shannon gets going, and that's why they try to force so many mid-range jumpers. Second highest share in the entire country in mid-range jumpers forced defensively. That spurs the transition attack, gets them going. But sidewise, guys, I have not bet it, but you would have to twist my arm to get me to fade UConn. I cannot do it. You cannot make me. I don't. Maybe if it got to like 12, but I don't want it. I don't want the UConn smoke. Dan Hurley is too good in this tournament. I will just live with my over points in that game.
It's funny. You say 12. The current, the Bart Torvik time-adjusted line for this game just for the month of March is 12. Like, as good as Illinois has been,
that's crazy.
That's how good UConn has been.
I will, if it gets to 9, Illinois is my best bet.
Wow.
You sicko. God.
I'm going to take the charge in front of the train, lay down on the tracks.
Absolute lunatic.
If it gets to 9, 8.5, I'll be forced to take 8.5 if it ends that way. But I really think the spread's going to get to 9.
I wish you luck on your journey there. I have nothing else to add. Let's talk the late night game tonight, a rematch. Clemson, Alabama, featuring the red-hot Crimson Tide, Kai, and the fortuitous but feisty Clemson Tigers, who won in Tuscaloosa already this year in a game that they outshot Alabama from 3. They made 50% of their threes in that first game, 85-77. Total at 164 minus 3.5. Early money took the Tide. I think it's about where it should be. Do you have a take?
I wanted Alabama 2.5, but yeah, you made a good point. Clemson beat Alabama at Alabama, but shooting luck was there. Let's go back on Clemson's 3 games here. New Mexico, 3 for 23. Baylor, 6 for 24. Arizona, 5 for 28. You can say Clemson's playing good defense, and that might be true, but at the end of the day, 14 for 75 from 3 good shooting teams against a defense that has not really defended the 3 that well percentage-wise all season is shooting variance. That's luck, and maybe that continues tonight against Alabama. Personally, I don't think it does. Alabama's a horrible team to allow threes to. I mean, they're going to shoot 33s. I'd be surprised if they go 17% as well. We know they're getting out in transition. Can Alabama stop the post, though? P.J. Hall had a huge game against them in Game 1. I think that's a little bit concerning. They have not guarded the post well this season. That is the main concern.
Grant Nelson, where you at? Grant Nelson, where you at?
On the floor? I don't know.
He's been a great last game, but can he guard the post?
Are they going to have to play 2 bigs? That's the question. Because the high-low stuff that Clemson runs with Shefflin and Hall, or Godfrey and Wiggins, or even Clark sometimes. Like, they have so many 6'10 guys that can actually make plays and score. That's a problem for Alabama. Do they have to size up, especially if Wrightsell isn't able to come back from a concussion? That small ball lineup isn't quite as deadly as it typically is for the Tide. I am, again, torn on the side here. Also kind of torn on total. I sort of like the over, but what I do love, fellas, it's the best bet for me, is Mark Sears over 21.5 points.
Okay, prop.
He's been terrific in the tournament so far. His low total game was 18 last round, and this game, I think, sets up well for him. The way Clemson's been playing, going under every screen, just daring three-point shooters to shoot. Unless Mark Sears is R.J. Davis, Caleb Love level cold, I think he's going to hit that 21.5. He's going to have the volume. Maybe a little tougher to finish at the rim against all the size that Clemson has. They have a great rim defense. But I think he can hit the jumpers are going to be there. They're going to let him take it because they want to keep the ball on the perimeter. That is my guess here. Best bet, Mark Sears, over 21.5 points.
And if Clemson plays zone, which I don't know if they will in this game.
17 possessions against Arizona. It was a lot for them.
They played a lot. Zone, a different type of matchup, but you could argue that Brownell probably liked the curveball aspect of that. Probably plays better for the guards jacking up more threes if you're looking to hit the player prop market, which we are. Recently crowned player prop experts here.
And Alabama's licking their chops if Clemson goes zone.
Yeah.
That plays right into their hands.
I was actually looking at Grant Nelson under as sort of like a fade of last game's explosion. He only had like 3 points in the first 2 games, but I think...
And Clemson has like the perfect set of guys to guard him.
Right.
He did have 14 against Clemson game 1.
True. So
Jack Clark got hurt.
Yeah.
The Jack Clark thing, great point. We mentioned how big of an X factor he's been defensively and to a degree offensively as well. Got hurt in that first Bama game. He's been key in this tournament. Shouts to Circuit. I got some alt lines up right now, some alt point spreads. My takeaway here is in a game that could be very volatile in either direction, I think Clemson or Bama both win by at least a few possessions. That's my take.
Yeah. Well, if you want to take Clemson, do you take an alt line Clemson?
Yeah. So here, Clemson minus 4.5 plus 240. Kai, Alabama minus 10.5 plus 280. Thoughts?
I think there's a better
How about
chance.
that? Play both sides, kind of a portfolio.
No.
Just cheer against a close game. Wow, you sound like a stingy bull.
I think there's a better chance Alabama wins by double digits than Clemson wins by 5, in my opinion. I think personally the Clemson train ends tonight. I think Alabama is too good offensively. I think the shooting regression is going to come. And, we've seen hot Elite Eight teams in the past, like Oregon State, get hot and then fall down in this spot. I think Alabama is more made to win this game. I'm going to take Alabama. I like the over as well. I think there's going to be a lot of points. Again, I think Alabama's going to be hot, and Clemson, man, can shoot. And P.J. Hall is a matchup problem for Alabama, as we talked about.
Will I live bet Alabama after Clemson gets up 20-16?
Yes, you will.
Or 20-12, and Alabama's 1 for 8 from 3. I'm
Hit on 16, Jim. Hit
stubbornly
on 16.
hitting on 16 again. It has not worked out so far this tournament. Has not worked out on this trip, hitting on 16 at the blackjack table. But, I think I probably will end up getting teased into that if that is the situation.
Yeah, the total in the regular season close, I'm looking 160 basically, so it's only a 4-point premium, and as overy as we've seen Alabama play, and as well as we've seen Clemson shoot it. I mean, I think it feels spinny, but today is Spinny Saturday.
But are there inflated basketballs there, Matt?
No, right. Wait, this is at Crypto. This is in LA. How's your portfolio, Crypto fans? I'm not invested myself. But I think the balls are properly inflated at this venue. Again, I don't have the official report yet, but when I do, we'll share that. Any other player props that we like here? Kai.
Sears is the big one for me in that game. I mean, I don't mind a PJ Hall over. I don't think he has a lot of threat to be in foul trouble in this game, which is very important.
18 points is the number there.
I saw 17.5 on Circa before, so maybe someone hit the over there. It does feel like a game where he can eat both on the glass and in that like high-low game with Shefflin. So I could see PJ Hall having a big one here.
Yeah, look at game 1. PJ Hall had 21 points against Alabama. I really think he has an advantage in this game. So yes, I would be intrigued by his overs. That goes for rebounds as well. He's going to be on the floor. He's had foul trouble this entire tournament. I don't think it's going to happen against Alabama.
I guess when we get to best bets, I have one more general question for both the chat and for you guys. I'm looking forward to getting to.
No, I don't have a best bet yet. I'm sitting here trying to wait for an epiphany to come to my head. But I don't have it. Let's go right there now, Jim. Best bet. You talked about your player prop and your over.
Yep. First game, UConn, Illinois, over 155.5. I was able to get 155 at the Superbook. And Circa is okay with me talking about other books' lines. They encourage line shopping.
Book.
So they're not worried about that.
What a great operation.
Over there, but the locking in it now on the show, 155.5. And then Mark Sears, over 21.5 points. I just think the defensive matchup and scheme sets up really well for him, and he's been playing awesome.
I'm going Illinois 9. I'm waiting for the +9. I assume it's going to get there. Hey, you can hold my feet to the fire, 8.5 if it closes 8.5. But my best bet will be Illinois 9. I like the Clemson over as well. I will be on Bama. Not a best bet, just a normal bet, we'll say, for Kai. Got to get a little action every game, especially when there's 2 games.
You do.
This
I agree.
We saw I think it was on Tim Murray's show on VSiN that you guys were on last night, but he was talking to one of the bookmakers from Stations, and he's like, we will need Illinois. He knows that the UConn money's going to be there. So, Kai, I do agree. I would think it should get to 9 at some point.
I think so, too. Yes.
I'm going to take Bama. I know I got the stale number here at 3.5. I just think the Clemson magic runs out. We'll see what happens with the Clemson-NC State mojo both today and tomorrow when we get to NC State-Duke, a rubber match, I guess, of those two. But speaking of tomorrow, tomorrow's show.
Wait. I have one more discussion topic.
Oh yeah,
that
go.
we need to get to. I have a futures portfolio where UConn is my major worry, and obviously they're the best team. They're minus 110 to win the title now at Circa. Minus 115. It literally moved while we were doing the show. So people are in on the Huskies. If Illinois beats them and optimizes my portfolio, what do I have to do? What ill-advised, dumb thing? Do I jump in the pool with my clothes on? Like, what's the...
I think you jump in the pool without your clothes on.
You definitely do that, no matter what happens, Shem. So you do that for sure.
Streak
I don't want to, completely alienate the relationship we have here, but I guess I'll give the chat 30 seconds to come up with some idea, because I will owe Illinois my life if they are able to take out the Huskies before the Final Four.
Order one of everything from 8 East tonight. A fantastic Asian restaurant in Circa.
Well, I prefer
Order
it be
one
more
of everything, eat it all, and barf.
I'd much prefer it be embarrassing rather than costly monetarily.
Oh, you would barf. Everywhere.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, you would.
And
I
you
don't
make
wanna
money.
empty the
UConn loses,
pocketbook.
you got money in the bank, baby.
Is this the lowest spread UConn? Let's say UConn plays in the title game. Is 8.5 the lowest we see them line the rest of
Purdue
the
they
would
play
be
Purdue.
like 5,
It's
right?
Purdue would be
Yeah.
like 6, probably
Yeah.
6. You're right. You're right.
It'd be like 3 or 4. Yeah.
So Purdue is the only chance you're getting a cheaper price, I guess. If I'm right. Good point.
Duke would be lower, too.
Duke's starting to get up there. Maybe if Tennessee plays really well. But, you're clearly seeing the premium on UConn spreads already. So even if Ken Pom has one of those games 5, it's going to be
it was
6.5,
3 points
7.
above on San Diego State, and you mentioned the same premium today. So, obviously Ken Pom's not going to make manual adjustments, but at this point it feels like that's a good they are. I saw someone did tweet real quick. They are, I believe, in the top 7 in the last decade in Ken Pom's adjusted efficiency margin. So, they are for real in the great teams of the last decade.
They have created a gap right now on Ken Pom, including the tournament play. It's significant now between 1 and 2. UConn and Houston still number 2.
I have no best bets. I'm sorry. I'm going to
choose one. It's the best bet show.
I'm going to
You gave Alabama. You gave Alabama.
I'm going to give my portfolio on the alt spreads, which is a plus money. If one of those hits, obviously it's double whammy if they lose. But I think the Bama Clemson game is a comfortable margin winner either direction. That's my take.
All right. The chat has said I have to chug some amount of beer on tomorrow's best bet show if Illinois wins outright. And I will sign up for that. It's at 10 a.m. I will still do it. That is an official. Good. I'm in. If Illinois wins outright, I will chug some amount of beer tomorrow morning.
Good.
Sounds good to me.
Go Illini, I guess. Sorry, Jim.
Yes, go Illini. I'm totally on board with that. That sounds great.
Kai, your best bets, you already recapped.
I'm
correct?
taking Illinois. +9 apparently at a different book out there. So thank you to Ted in the chat. I think it's going to get to 9 everywhere by tip-off time. That will be my best bet.
I'm going to go walk down and hammer UConn for a milli here at Circa, move it to 9, then Kai will get his 9. So we'll kind of.
I'll also do a milli, so we just use the.
Oh, great.
We lose the 100K on the.
Yep.
That's all right. Circa needs the money. It's fine.
And we have those funds because this show has been so successful. Because of you, the listener, for watching. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Tomorrow's show time?
Same? No. Earlier. What time?
10 a.m. tomorrow.
10 a.m. Pacific,
10 a.m. Pacific.
noon Central,
Pacific.
1 p.m. Eastern. First game tips off at 2:20 Eastern.
Yeah,
so that's why we're starting then.
Yeah, the tip times, again, the NCAA just continues to fumble this, but 11:20 and 2:05 are the scheduled tip times for tomorrow. Until that time, good luck on your wagers, and may the 3-point variance be ever in your favor.
3-point variance.
And thank you again to Circa, the best damn sportsbook period. Thank you again, folks.